Hello there. We are back. This is live Chew on This with Deborah and Ray. We are so excited to be back with you today.
Do we know who's who?
Who's who? I don't know who is who.
You're Deborah.
I'm glad to know that.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
Ray.
Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I forget.
Your best life begins with taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. And we want to bring things to you each month that supports you in your best health.
And to be fair, let everybody know that we're from HMPE Studios, live.
Yeah, new studio.
Absolutely, great
New
place.
year, HMPE Studios, and we're excited to be here. So today we're going to concentrate on what we feed our mind. So sometimes we'll have a little bit of food to eat, sometimes we'll do food for thought, and today we're going to talk about food for thought because what you feed your mind is really important.
Absolutely.
It can be almost, I think sometimes it's almost more important than what you feed your body, or as equally as important as what you feed your body.
Absolutely. Speaking of feed your body, can I have some water?
You want some water? Good thing I came prepared.
She came prepared.
Whoops. You have to be smarter than the lid.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.
So I wanted to talk just briefly about some of those books. I remember when I was a child, I loved to read, but I always read fictional books. I read the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Bobbsey Twins, anything that was fiction I could get my hands on, I would read. But I was probably in my 40s before I really understood the power of nonfiction books. And except for, the only one I can really remember is when I was in high school, I had to read 1984. If anybody else has ever read that, let us know, because that book traumatized me. And I think it traumatized me from ever reading a nonfiction book again. So it started when I, on my faith journey, and I started reading the Bible more and started reading books like Max Lucado and Philip Yancey and John Maxwell. And I realized that there was a whole world out there that I really didn't understand. And the more I read, the more I understood the world around me. And so I fell in love with reading nonfiction. And I can't even remember the last time I read a fiction book now. Someone said to me, well, you should read a fiction book just for fun. Well, the books I read are for fun.
Absolutely.
How about you? What do you like to read?
I like to read things that speak to me. You know, things that are today.
Like Audible books or?
I've done those too. One of my special ones that I really liked at Audible was The Shack.
Oh, yeah.
And they made a movie out of it. And I'd listen to that and, oh my goodness, I only had half-an-hour lunches. And I'd be eating and listening to it. Wow, it was just superb.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go talk to you a little bit about some books that made a difference in my life in the beginning of my journey. So as far as health is concerned, because most of you who know me now, I've been on a health journey. And two books started that. One is called Accidentally Overweight with Libby Weaver. And what I loved about this book is it really did connect for me some of the struggles that I was experiencing in my health and my inability to release weight, and things like hormones and how they were connected, thought patterns, so many things. So if you want to read a book that can, if you're just curious, this is a great book. One of the other ones was Gut and Psychology Syndrome. I've always been fascinated about psychology, how the mind works. But when I started connecting that the gut and the mind are connected, I mean, that was really a huge aha for me because we try to treat them so separately, right?
Yeah.
And they are one and the same. And so this is by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, Gut and Psychology Syndrome. This is actually a book about autism, ADD, ADHD, depression, schizophrenia, and how food and drink impacts our brain. So those had some impact on me as I began my health journey. You want to jump in and talk about yours before I talk about all mine?
I have one here that I've been reading that over and over I pick it up, and it's The Power of Human Connection by Cody Bateman. And it's more than just about business or anything else. It's how relationship marketing and transforming the way people succeed. And I tell you what, it's an interesting book. It's about relationships, not only business but personal relationships. How do we contact each other?
How do we interact?
How do we interact? And anyway, it's a wonderful thing. Another one that I've really liked, that I started reading a long time ago, and that's the parables, about Jesus Christ's parables, because sometimes they're hard for me to understand, and so I read them over and over again and said, wow, this is really neat. And I love this book, The Heart of the Bible.
What's special about that one?
This one here is, there's a lot of characters in each of the book of the Bibles, and this tells about people, what their background was, and goes into what happened and why. And I'm not sure if it's factual.
Like the backstory?
Yeah, backstory. I'm sure it is factual, but I'm not sure if it's their take on it or how it is. But I love it. It's all about the main characters of the Bible.
Like the who, what, when, where.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always found that's very, very valuable. Can I go now?
Your turn.
I have a couple of books here that they're meaningful because of where they came from. This is just one of my favorite songs in all the world is I Hope You Dance. This one's by Leanne Womack, and my daughter gave me this book, and it says, we love you more than you'll ever know. After everything life has given you, good or bad, you still dance. And that's from my daughter and my grandson, Kenny. And so she signed in it, so it has special meaning for me. But the words of the song also are empowering. This one is called Living a Five-Star Life. Life is too short not to live a five-star life. But this is from my good friend, Betty Mahalik. She has passed on. But it's a great book about those things that we could do every day in our life. And what I learned from Betty is it's about the choices and the decisions that we make in every single day, that we can choose to live a mediocre life, or we can implement those things that can truly lead us to a five-star life. And so her legacy lives on in the words that she wrote in this book. I know you've read some of these books over here,
yeah.
but I'm going to you can jump in whenever. So, life-transforming books. This one, John Maxwell, I didn't realize how many of his books I'd read, but I have. I think I heard recently he's written 82 books. I've probably read at least half of them. And this one's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And this is one of the things that I've learned about books, is how important it is to keep growing. And I think that was my big aha when I started reading nonfiction, that it's so important to continue to learn, to grow, because we learn who we are and then how we can be of value and bring our dreams, our passion, our purpose to life. And so that's another great book.
I was going to say, I love to listen to him when he speaks. He is such a marvelous speaker. I just can't get enough of him.
He has a marvelous voice. This was another one that kicked on my aha. This is called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkerson. And it says, you too have been given a big dream, one that can change your life, one that the dream giver wants you to achieve. Does your big dream seem hopeless and out of reach? Are you waiting for something or someone to make your dream happen? Then you're ready for this book. And then, I don't know about you, but sometimes change is really hard to accept, especially when if I choose to change, I'm all about it, right?
If I tell you you need to change, well,
yeah,
okay.
Don't tell me I have to change. But sometimes life happens, right? And we have to change. And so this is a great book about if change happens, how do you adapt and how do you to move to it? So this is a great little book as well. Start with why. Holy cow, this was one of those life-transforming ideas, is why do you do what you do? And if you don't know, grab this book and figure it out. Another John Maxwell made its way.
Absolutely.
This is because this book is on my reading list for this year, so I'll start with that. Intentional Living. I started it,
I've read most of that,
Yeah, I started it.
and I took it.
So what did you learn so far?
You got to be intentional about what you think, about what you say, and who you're around. Because if you're around people that are broke, you're going to be broke too. Or if you're around happy people, you're going to be happy.
I actually have 26. I didn't bring the list with me, but I have 26 books that are on my list so far, and I know that's going to change because as my world vision expands, I get introduced to different books and say, "Oh, I have to read that," because I have. Ray laughs at me because I have.
I don't laugh at
we
you.
have we have a floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall bookcase full of books, and I have read most of them, and I keep them because they've made an impact on my life. So this is another one that was the Four Agreements. Anybody out there read this one? I'll just read real quick the Four Agreements.
Okay.
Be impeccable with your word. Honesty, integrity, that's everything in life. Don't take anything personally. This is an important lesson for me because I used to take everything personally. And I had to learn that when someone said something to me, it wasn't always about me. Sometimes it was about them. And so not to take it personally, or take what is it that I can learn from that experience, and then don't make assumptions.
I do that sometimes, and
Yeah.
that's not good.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm really guilty of it sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes one of us can have a resting face, just not doing anything. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Have you ever done that? Ask somebody, are you okay? And we are okay.
You mean when I'm staring off and you're wondering, what are you doing?
He was
Well,
staring at the wall last night. It's like,
I'm just staring off. My brain is in idle.
and the last one is always do your best. Whatever it is you're doing, do your best. So that's that one. This is on my reading list for this year. A Circle Maker, a very good friend, gave me this, and this is based on your dreams, but dream big, and then give those dreams to God and see what God will do. Because if you have a big dream, it's likely because God placed it on your heart, and
Absolutely.
He didn't place it there if He's not going to give you the tools to do something with that. Game Changers. I just started this one. I don't know a whole lot about it. I listened to his podcast actually, but it's 41. I forget. It's life hacks on how to do better, be better, and do your best. What leaders, innovators, and mavericks do to win at life. And another health book that I have a lot of friends who are suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's. This is Dr. Daniel Amen. Anybody know how to pronounce that? But this is Memory Rescue, Supercharge Your Brain, Reverse Memory Loss, Remember What Matters Most. I used to have a sign when I was younger. It says, of all the things I've missed, I miss my mind the most. And that was a joke, but nowadays it's really no joking matter. But there's things that you can do that correspond with taking care of your health. Simple things that you can do, what you eat, what you drink, what you think, what you do can make an impact. So those are some of my top things that I'm going to read this year, which leads me to when I was younger, I loved books, but I never dreamed of knowing an author or ever being an author.
Okay.
But this stack represents some of the folks that I know who've written a book. And this is what I've learned. All of the books that I've read, they come from someone's experience. And that's why I think it's so life transforming that we learn and we grow from other people's experiences. If you're part of a church and you're in a small group, part of sharing stories, that's what books are. They're part of sharing story of how this is what happened in my life, this is how I overcame it, and this is what my life is like now. And the opportunity to share that with friends. So a book isn't necessarily a small group, but it's still in these pages. This is The Story of You with Mark Menard, and the story of you is for the doers and the dreams. The doers of the dreams who are ready to escape from the land of mediocrity once and for all. And he shares his own personal story. And in those personal stories, we discover, first of all, we're not alone. Second of all, if somebody else can make a difference in their life, certainly we can make a difference in our lives. and thirdly, how you use those experiences then to bring value and to support others in their journey of recovery and health or whatever. So that's Mark Menard. My good friend Lauren Barr, we went to school, Institute of Integrative Nutrition together, and she just released her book. It's called Ready, Set, Heal. It's a 6-week plan to reclaim your health and happiness. It's a great little book. If you're struggling to reset your life, this is a great book. This is from my friend Beth Boggin. Pick up your mat and walk.
That's a great book.
It's a great book, and as you know, nothing is a quick fix, right? But when you recognize where you are and then you take steps to make changes, you have to decide that you want to get well, right? That's the premise. You have to decide, first of all, that you want to be well. And Beth shares her personal story and also some activities to help you discover where you need to grow, where you want, not need, but where you want to grow in your life. This is my friend Sophia Falke, A Guide for Living the Life You Love, Embracing Greatness, because it said we all have greatness within us. Sometimes we don't embrace that, right? So embrace your greatness, and this is another great book to read. This is another one of your favorites.
One of my favorites, Beach Money and Better Beach Money. Oh man, yeah.
If you're struggling from 9 to 5, trying to make ends meet, pick up one of these books. There is another way.
Absolutely.
Not for everybody, but there is another way. Jordan is an awesome leader and mentor, and these are great books. This is a new friend, Pamela Garrison. I'm showing these books because I believe we do all have a story within us, because we all have because we all have stories that we've survived. And if you have survived a story, someone else needs to hear that. And so maybe you're being called to write your own story. So Pamela is about identity crisis, and she tells a fabulous story through bubbles. And so check her out, Pamela Garrison.
I'm not sure how you can say this one.
Can you read the title? Can we say this on screen? Girl, get your shit together.
Remember, we're alive.
Well, it's adulting your way, and it's control your money, live purposely, and love your life. Because, you know, when I was in school, I wasn't taught how to budget, how to manage money. All I did learn is those thoughts that get planted in our head, that money doesn't grow on trees, that I'm not made of money, all those stories. So this is a great book. I've just started reading it. Lisa is awesome, so put this on your list to read. If you love poetry, books written from the heart, this is from my friend Tammy Belt. It's called Poetic Justice, Lessons of Love, Life, and Relationships. Tammy says of this book that she didn't write a book, the book wrote the book.
Say that again? Easy for you to say, huh?
I couldn't say it the first time. She didn't write the book wrote her. And so these are just poems of her life experiences.
Here's one of my favorites.
Well, we'll save that one for just a second. Another new friend, she's also an Institute of Integrative Nutrition coach. I met her recently on a travels to California. Michelle Savage, the Green Isles Healthy Indulgence. Be nice if I could say it right. The Green Isles Healthy Indulgent.
It's got some wonderful recipes in there.
Yeah, look, it's got pictures.
Good stuff for you.
You know, and I judge a cookbook by how many recipes look good to me and that I can eat and that I will actually try. This one is actually, I think it's vegetarian or vegan, but people have a misconception that you have to cook differently, and you don't. And if someone didn't say this is a vegan or a vegetarian recipe, you wouldn't know it, because it's just good food, right? Yep. So those are just some of our favorites. I couldn't bring them all because the table wasn't big enough and Ray didn't want to carry them all.
So here's one of my favorites. Wake the Health Up.
Wake the Health Up.
And let me tell you one little thing. And this is from Alan Ashford. He's a CFO of Black Wolf Media Group. Finally, a non-preachy, well-written roadmap to better health. Read Wake the Health Up, and you're bound to find something to kickstart improvements in quality of your life. It's like he is so right. It's like sitting across the table and talking to somebody and saying, wow, I didn't think of that. But yeah, it's a wonderful book.
So I wrote this book. It's you know, when someone said you have a book in you, I had to, what? But the reason I wrote it is because I struggled for so many years trying to find something that really worked for me, and I couldn't. But as I learned and studied, and all these ahas kept happening, it's like, why doesn't anybody tell us that stuff, right? Why doesn't someone tell you that it's important to know how many times you poop, and if you don't poop, what it has to do with? How many times someone connect how your gut is doing with if you're depressed or anything like that. And so as I went along, I learned so many things that my friends would say, I didn't know that. And so first of all, for all my friends, I love your guts. And so that's why I want you to wake the health up, because if we don't start making changes that support our health today, then we're not going to have the health that we want tomorrow. And when the one book here, The Dream Giver, I believe every single one of us has a dream planted within us. And if we aren't healthy enough to get up every single day with joy and vitality to go out and live those dreams, then that dream dies within us.
Yep.
And so that's one of the reasons I wrote this. So if you have dreams, goals, and a vision for making your life and this world a better place, don't let poor health interfere.
Yep, I agree. So we have some friends around here.
We have friends?
If we have friends.
We have friends. We have some friends. They're going to join us, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their favorite book, and they also have their own shows, and they're going to share that with us.
All right, so
Come on in. We're just going to push our chairs aside.
Yes.
Michelle. Oh, she's not? No, we're going to stand.
We're going to stand.
So this is, we'll do it this way. This is, which hand do I have on? This one's Missy. This is Joe.
Who's who here? I got to watch where I put my hand. Look out.
I'm dyslexic, so you know. And they have a show that's coming on later on. What is your show? You want to tell a little bit about your show?
Sure. Our show is called 50 Shades of Blonde, because we're hot blonde babes. That's what Jill calls us anyways. And we've been doing our show for over a year, and we're so excited because today we're in launching our show again after we've been off for a couple months, and we're in a gorgeous new studio that's super high tech. And we're just really glad to be here with our friends Deborah and Ray and Michelle.
Awesome. You want to
yeah, let's talk about you.
play with Ray?
I'm not mic'd, so.
Go ahead, speak into
So
my
I'm
chest.
just going to talk right
She's
here
not
into Ray's
mic'd either.
chest.
We got to have a little fun here, right?
Exactly. This is a surprise bringing you up here. So that, hey, bringing me up here. So I have a show called Sticks and Stones, and that's going to actually air next over on my Facebook page. It's all about the words and the phrases that we tell ourselves. And Deborah is actually going to be my guest on that show, so we're super excited for that. Okay, you can have your
I'm
microphone
excited.
back.
Excellent. I was wondering what you were grabbing there.
And we just kind of did this impromptu because
Yeah.
we're all starting this journey off together. You want to say something?
Yes, I would like to say something. I'm really excited.
Yay!
So happy to be here. This is an exciting moment for us. We can't wait to share with you and to be on forever.
So
If
Missy
you
was
want
saying
that.
how beautiful. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's quite
Missy
all
was
right.
saying how beautiful this studio is. It really is amazing, and so we're grateful to HMPE for
Yes.
having us here. So we talked a little bit about books.
Yes.
And what's your like a favorite book, or what's on your reading list for 2019?
So probably my favorite book would have to actually be a John Maxwell book, shocker. He wrote a book called Great Leaders Ask Great Questions. And for the people that know me, I'm all about the ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. And I learned that from that book, that if you want to be great at leadership and great in your business, You have to go out and just ask, and it's going to be either yes or no, and you need to be okay with either answer. And then on my list right now is he just came out with a brand new book called Leader Shift, and I'm about halfway through that book. And
Excited.
the cool thing about
mine
that,
gets shipped today.
oh, good. The cool thing about John Maxwell is he's all about staying relevant, and he's written like loads of leadership books. This one, he's taken it into the 21st century, and it's really cool to see how in this time frame of the world, how to be a great leader.
Anybody else for a book?
One of my favorite books that really changed my life, and I have shared it, I think, with everybody here. It's called The Circle Maker by Mark Batterman. Oh, do you have it right there? Batterson. Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. This is just a different, unique way to approach prayer, and a really cool philosophy and action. So steps that you can take to create prayer circles. So pick this book up.
Thanks for sharing.
And I'm going to piggyback on both of them because I ordered this book, and thanks to Michelle, I have this book, and I love this, and I'm reading two of them. So I have The Circle Maker and Draw the Circle at the same time. It's awesome. And my book actually is Endless Referrals by Bob Berg, because that seems to be the Bible of networking. And if there's anything that you want to know that has to do with networking besides talking to me, check that book out.
Shameless plug.
Gotta get the plug in.
A little plug there.
Absolutely.
We
That's
gotta
it.
do shameless plugs, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And of course, speaking of shameless plugs, you're all reading my book.
That's right.
Oh,
Wake the
that's
health
right.
up.
And what's the name of that book again?
Wake the health up.
Well, I'm really excited, I'm grateful for each and every one of you to partnering with me on this journey and being such great supports. And I feel like a
Hug.
We love you. So, I didn't see any questions coming in from our fans, or so I hope that's even working, because I see Mike popped in. So hi Mike. Any last minute thoughts for anybody?
We're excited for the
We're
next
Excited. And 2019 is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'd like to say to you is go out, get some books, read, listen to Audible. There's so many different ways to get information to grow and expand your mind. And the more you grow and expand your mind, the more your mind will be grown and expanded. So it keeps going like this. Luckily, we don't all get big heads, or we hope not, right?
No, we have not.
But you want to grow and expand your knowledge. And so hope we left you something to chew on this month, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Next month.
Or next
First
week.
Monday of the month, right here. God bless.
Bye.